Jump In Foundation is a group of friends and colleagues who got together to build bridges from people to people. We've been thinking for a number of years about how we can get active and give support to people in the community who may be vulnerable or have fewer resources than us and could benefit from a well-organized program whose goal is to be supportive of these individuals. Who are we? We're a group of coaches, athletes, a doctor, an activation therapist, and other resilient souls. We're friends, and we've been talking and working for many years about how to develop this foundation with the goal of building bridges and finding connections between people and bringing support to people in need. In so doing, those of us who might seem to be in a very advantaged way in their life can find added meaning and a sense of purpose. The idea is that we want to break down the barriers to emotional and physical well-being for those that we can connect to who may be living in poverty or suffering from mental health issues. We want to try and break down some of the barriers for these individuals who would benefit from activation in their life, and we see it as our legacy to provide a foundation for a positive future for those young people that we can build bridges for. There's a very clear link between people living in poverty and a high risk of mental health issues. But it's certainly not just youth living in poverty who are at risk of health issues, and it's difficult for us to predict which of our youth will develop psychiatric problems as they grow older. There may be people who seem relatively advantaged, but they may be genetically predisposed to mental health issues, and relatively minor environmental stressors can trigger difficulties for them. With the protective factor of involvement in the activation programs that our foundation provides, we can prevent these issues from becoming chronic for certain individuals. To get started, we want to set up our programs in areas where there are at-risk youth, so it's the schools that provide for lower socioeconomic groups. But certainly we want to invite anybody and all youth who are interested in our programs. The after-school program offers a very unique bridge between the children and youth who may not have opportunities because of their socioeconomic disadvantage or because of lack of mentoring or coaching or interest, or perhaps being involved with friends in their community who get them involved in things. But it's also an opportunity for students and youth who may appear on the outside to have all of the advantages of life. They may have families that support them, they may have been on rep teams, they can give their commitment and time, but in their lives there may have always been the underlying question of what is the purpose and meaning of this commitment to activities that I have. So in addition to their own enthusiasm and physical and mental health by participating in these programs, these more advantaged individuals can bridge to other kids that don't have the same opportunities, and they can help them learn the benefits of those aspects of their lifestyle. Our after-school program is going to be set up initially in Welland because this is where one of our very enthusiastic directors live and where one of our student volunteers goes to school at Brock University. We have chosen a school that is in a lower socioeconomic designation, but of course within the school we want the programs to be open to any individual who is interested in participating. We don't want our youth groups to be stigmatized. We want to develop it as an opportunity for the community and an opportunity for the committed volunteer athletes to be more involved in programs that go on for a number of years. Welland, like many of our Ontario and Canadian centres, has had a recent number of suicides among their young people. We hope to reach out to some of these young people, including successful student athletes who may be struggling, and our after-school program is going to be set up optimally once or twice a week for 1 hour, and it will be sports specific. The idea is that we could choose sports that obviously interest most of the young people who are participating and joining the program, but also align this with the skill set of the volunteers, because they want to be role models and encourage the young participants based on their own experience and expertise. It is our vision that we could facilitate access to this program for all youngsters who may not otherwise have access to such programs. We will provide, of course, all of the equipment and supplies, And our long-term vision ideally would be also to be able to provide transportation for our young group. We want to have volunteers whose passion and enthusiasm can assist in building bridges to these new athletes who are going to be involving themselves in our program. So research guides us in our development of programs that we can predict will create positive settings for our youth. We want the programs to be well staffed and programmed, and we want to have strong partnerships between programs and other places like sports facilities, tennis clubs, etc. But we also want to have some idea of what qualities we want to assist our young participants in developing to guarantee their success in life. And we know that there are 3 highly predictive characteristics in young people that can help us predict that they're going to do well. Those 3 qualities are resilience, creativity, and independence. Our foundation is going to work hard to eliminate the barriers to participation that make it difficult for some young groups to benefit from these programs. So we would like to provide transportation. We'll have equipment and supplies there. We're going to give lots of social support and guidance to encourage participation, but also have some expectations in terms of attendance and participation. And we're going to find out how we do by our surveys and reports. Our goal is to build trust between the volunteers who are providing the programs and every participant. I mentioned this earlier in our description of our foundation, that this is a two-way street. In our success-oriented culture, we have many young people who are doing well in school, taking part in various activities and sports. But I don't think we're very good at teaching those same young people what the role of all these activities and endeavors have in their future success. Most youth who play basketball or dance are not going to be professional basketball players or coaches or dancers or soccer players, but they're learning skills. They're learning about working together as a team. They're learning about discipline and commitment. And the Jump In Foundation is really aiming at teaching them the importance of giving back to the community, of volunteering, and sharing the richness that they've garnered from those activities, sharing that richness with other youth who haven't had that same opportunity. We define poverty in the same way that Statistics Canada defines it. We aren't requiring that people prove that they fall in this catchment because we don't want to stigmatize our young participants, but we will choose schools that are socioeconomically disadvantaged. We have oodles of research about the benefits of physical activity for children and adults, but also as a lifestyle model. Our goal is to really help youth understand the importance of learning healthier habits. We're going to review and present some of the literature on the link between physical activity, mental health, and academic and social aptitude and success. This list seems intuitive. The link between active young children who keep themselves moving for at least 60 minutes a day and all of the expected benefits of that. Better fitness, growing stronger, better socializing, a greater sense of well-being. Somehow it seems intuitive, and we've heard a lot about that. The World Health Organization makes the following recommendation: 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity each day. It's hard to know what they mean by that, and it seems difficult to try and send our young kids out to do something that's unnatural or stilted. We want them to have fun. We have all sorts of research compiled which can help us understand the scientific link between physical activity and mental well-being. And one of our lead researchers here at McMaster University, Dr. Dan Offord, has created many legacies in the understanding of the link between peer support and activity and the well-being of at-risk children. Here's a list of benefits of after-school programs that was developed by the Harvard Family Research Project study. This is an impressive list, and certainly one that all of us would embrace enthusiastically. Greater feelings of positive self-esteem, avoidance of substance abuse, better socialization, better physical participation. It's all good. But we can't leave that list by itself. This article brings attention to what happens to athletes who've given all for many, many years and then give up their passion. At that point in their life, they're asking themselves, what was it all for? What is the benefit of all of that hard work and participation? And this is where the two-way street comes in. It's not just the physical and mental well-being of youth, but it's also finding greater meaning to life in all that we do and all that we pursue.